We are now being joined by former Kano State Governor, one-time Minister of Defense, and presidential candidate of New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. Senator Kwankwaso, thank you very much for joining us.
Ruben, thank you very much, and Baraka de Salah.
Same to you, sir. Baraka de Salah. How did they say? Eid Mubarak. Well, very quickly, let me ask you. The big story, let's start with the Peter Obi dimension of it. In the last 1 month or so, there have been talks about you and Peter Obi coming together. And there was an issue about who will be the running mate, who will be the presidential candidate. There were persons who said, well, considering the fact that there are people who claim that it's the turn of the Southeast, that you should be the running mate. Your supporters also argued that you cannot be running mate to anybody. And now, Mr. Peter Obi has chosen Dati Baba Ahmed as his running mate. Do you feel disappointed? Do you think that, well, this was one transaction, one proposed deal that failed? How do you feel now that you didn't get a chance to align with the Southeast?
Thank you very much, Ruben. Let me say that I think we have passed that season. We are now in the process of course, Peter has now gotten his running mate. We have also sent the running mate of our party, or my humble self. And before now, and 15th of this month, which INEC, of course, said is mandatory for each and every political party to do or to finish the substitution. And therefore, for us in the NNPP, very soon, we are going to take decision either to allow the gentleman, Oladipo Johnson, who accepted to send his name to INEC, and the party will sit down and take decision to either substitute or allow his name to continue.
Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, are you likely to still be looking at the Southeast and then drop the current placeholder, Mr. Oladipo Johnson from Lagos, who is occupying the position? Or are you likely to go ahead with him?
Well, actually, we are very much open now to pick anybody from the South. But what we are also sure is that the person will be a Christian to ensure that the ticket is properly balanced in terms of religion, in terms of region, and in terms of many other things that the party is sensitive to. So I think we need to be a little bit patient and see what happens between today and the end of 15th of this month, which is Friday, 2022.
Well, but do you feel like you not being able to work out a deal with Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party is a major loss? Or you just take it as one of those things? Because on social media particularly, he's been celebrated that he has made a good choice. Southeast, Northwest, and Dati Ahmed, Baba Ahmed, considering his pedigree. Do you feel threatened by that? That you have missed a major opportunity?
Ruben, at this point, I will just ask you to please do justice to what I have said. Try and keep my interview in YouTube or in areas that it can be safe. And I'm sure one day you will bring it out and it will be very useful and it should be a lesson to everybody in this country and even beyond.
Okay, but what do you think of the possibility of a Muslim ticket? The governor of Kano State, Governor Ganduje, talking about his own party, was saying, well, there's nothing wrong about or with a Muslim ticket. So that's what they are doing in the APC, most likely. What do you think of that? Do you think that a Muslim ticket is not an issue in the process as you go ahead? So if you drop your placeholder, are you likely to look for maybe a Muslim from the Southwest?
You see, in 1993, in SDP, and at that time, I was Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. We found ourselves with such a similar situation where we had a Muslim ticket. But that was almost 30 years ago. Now in 2023, it will be exactly 30 years. And so many things have changed in this country. And the responsible thing or things that made things to change actually were the leadership, the quality of the leadership that we have seen over the years, which allowed Nigerians to, unfortunately, took to their cocoons in terms of religion, in terms of ethnicity, region, and so on. And that is exactly what our party, the NNPP, will do whatever it can to bring Nigerians together. But for now, I believe even the person and people who are talking about Muslim ticket, we all know that that is not the best arrangement, and it is just a matter of time that they will realize the mistake of doing it. But that is not even the worry for the PDP and the APC. I believe it's the party or parties themselves. Everybody in this country, including themselves, believe that the two parties have failed. And therefore, anybody who is standing on those parties is like standing on nothing. And there is no way you can build something on nothing, because that is what they are. People were in PDP and APC because there was no alternative. Now there is an alternative on the ground, our party, the NNPP. I'm sure many people will be disappointed because many people now are finding it difficult to look into what is likely going to happen tomorrow, or even what is happening today. These parties have failed, whether Muslim or Christian, or Muslim Christian. For me, it doesn't matter. I think it's the foundation, it's the building on which the candidates are likely or are going to stand on. So I'm not worried about the combination of PDP or APC. I am more worried about the future of this country, which I believe at the end of the day, it is only the NNPP that is strong enough in terms of capacity and capabilities of the candidates, right from the State Assembly, Senate, House of Reps, gubernatorial, and presidential candidates. We took our time really to arrive at this party, the New Nigeria People's Party, because we are looking for a brand new Nigeria, because what we have today has failed us. And therefore, that was why we are very careful in terms of even the membership of our party. Talk less of the candidates that are standing election for us. So I believe that even though we had short period of time to start this party or to join this party, up to the time of submission of our candidates, which is about 4 months. But don't forget, Ruben, we have twice that time now to do our campaigns, to talk to Nigerians, and I'm sure whatever we are going to say to Nigerians in terms of failure of APC and PDP is what everybody knows. And nobody is in doubt that whoever they put will only continue with the bad work they have been doing in this country.
Well, Senator, many will argue that your campaign is gaining traction only in the northern part of the country and not in the south, and that your electoral value is restricted to Kano State. What do you intend to do to gain national appeal? Because people say, oh, Kwankwaso, it's just Kano State. Is this a national campaign, or is your agenda about just Kano State?
Ruben, just Kano, as if you are talking about 100,000 people. Don't forget that in Kano, what was being registered is almost what was being registered in some of the regions or zones that we are talking about in this country. But for people to think NNPP or Kwankwaso is only restricted to Kano or even Northwest or even Northern Nigeria, I think they don't understand what is happening today in this country. Look, Kwankwaso or NNPP is not only restricted to this country, Nigeria. I can assure you that Kwankwaso and NNPP is all over the world, not only in on African continent. We are in Asia, we are in America, we are in Europe, we are Australia, everywhere, and we have even functioning offices there. So for people who are thinking, in fact, they are wishful thinking that we are only in Kano, and I like the way we are calling Kano only. I think these people are living for a big shocker. We are moving. Let them say it's only restricted to my village in Kano. We hear them. And let's see how it goes. In fact, from the beginning, people were not taking NNPP seriously. And they thought, just like you are saying now, Kano. I'm so happy that everybody believes that Kano owns, or NNPP owns Kano. But I can tell you, we are everywhere in this country, including Arise TV. If you go and do census there, I can tell you that hardly can we get anybody who will be bold enough to say it's APC or PDP. And even if you go home, and I challenge anybody to ask around him at home or in the market or anywhere, to ask how many members do we have around him. Kwankwaso and NNPP is everywhere in this country, but if they know you are an enemy of the masses, nobody will talk to you about it. And we are so happy, those of us in NNPP, that a lot of work has been done over the years. At least the work that we can call our own is 30 or 47 years, depending upon when you start counting. And in northern Nigeria today, Kwankwaso and NNPP is a household name. So also in the southern Nigeria. So we are so happy with the way we are moving. And if you are in doubt, look at how we set up our structures in 4 months. In fact, in 1 month, just in March, from beginning of March to 30th of March, when we had our convention in Abuja, we were able to set up our structures in all the wards, the local governments, and the state and the national. So I'm happy with the progress so far, and I thank Almighty God for giving us good health and good life, long life, to set up what is now known to be a game changer. This NNPP has changed the game completely. Those who think head or tail they will win election either because they have government or believing that the government has failed, now I'm sure they must be rethinking of their chances. So I thank God that we have NNPP, which is a national party across this country.
Senator Kwankwaso, the Constitution requires that the party that will win the presidency of Nigeria should have 25% in 2/3 of the 36 states and the FCT of the Federation. So this is not just about Kano State. Are you very confident that the NNPP will be able to meet that constitutional requirement, considering the fact that your party will be squaring up against the PDP and the APC, two very strong, dominant, existent political parties? What gives you the confidence that you can change the game?
What you said for APC and the PDP was a history. And I can assure you that our party is in each and every nooks and corners of this country. And I have confidence in my mind that NNPP is in the position to fulfill that constitutional requirement. Don't forget, Ruben, I was in the 1994-95 Constitutional Conference as an elected delegate from Kano State. And we deliberately put that in the draft that we sent to federal government, believing that no zone, in fact, not even region, north or south, that is in the position to put anybody to become the president of this country, even when they vote for him 100%. That's the idea. We don't want any sectional president in this country. We don't want any tribal president in this country. We don't want somebody who will go and form a regional government in the villa, believing that he has now an opportunity. So I'm very conversant and aware of that provision, and I'm also very conversant and believe that our party will get the required percentage across the country. There are people who think with this game change of the NNPP, it will be necessary for us to go for the second ballot in 2023. Whatever the case, I have no doubt in my mind that this party, the NNPP, is a game changer. And I would love to see how people would campaign in the PDP or the APC on what they will tell Nigerians, either to continue the good things that they have done, or they will apologize and tell us that they are going to change when they get into power in 2023. So let's wait and see how it goes. But we are aware of the provision of the Constitution as amended in this country.
Okay, Senator Kwankwaso, in the course of that negotiation with the Peter Obi camp, the people who now go by the name the Obedient Movement, you were quoted as having said that you cannot be vice president to anybody because nobody will vote for a candidate from the southeast. Okay? So we guess that was why that conversation didn't go through. And that was confirmed by Alhaji Buba Galadima on another program on this station, who said, no, Senator Kwankwaso cannot be anybody's vice president. But can you let us into how your mind is working as to who eventually will be your running mate? Would that person come from the southeast or the south-south or the southwest? Because you have to take a decision on that, and you know whether or not Ladipo Johnson is a placeholder or not. So where is your running mate likely to come from, since you seem to have concluded that the people of the southeast have no electoral value?
Ruben, I'm happy that you have the record of what I said that day. I didn't say that I would not be the vice president of anybody, but I gave an analysis of the situation, that the best arrangement was for NNPP to have the ticket and the other party to be the vice president. Now, the way you are putting it is not the best way to put it, and actually we didn't put it that way. But in any case, I have answered this very question, that we are flexible. We have from now to the end of the 15th of this month to take our decision. And if we decide to take from any of the three zones, so be it. And I believe that at the end of the day, we will bring the vice president or vice presidential candidate that will be the best for the party and the best for this country.
Well, Senator, insecurity is a major problem in Nigeria. A few days ago, we just had groups now identified as ISWAP or Ansaru attacking the Kuje medium security facility in Abuja, just a few kilometers away from the presidential villa. Before then, we had an attack on the INEC facility in Igbo is the north, local government area of Enugu State. We have had clerics of the Catholic extraction being kidnapped here and there, attacks on trains and all of that. This is a big problem, and we keep saying on this station that whoever is going to be the next president of Nigeria must deal with the challenge of insecurity. You have a minister of defense. What do you think is wrong? Where do you think we're dropping the ball? That, bandits, terrorists, who just run roughshod. Are you still excited about the presidency of Nigeria, knowing that we could get to a point where terrorists could storm Aso Rock and cause mayhem and escape with it?
Yes, Ruben, is very unfortunate that Nigerians have to go through this serious quagmire. Everywhere is under attack, including the prisons, roads, markets, houses, everywhere. And it's very unfortunate also that we have not had any deliberate action from the government at the center and even at the state level. People are worried, people are concerned, because the issue of security affects almost all other areas, including the economy itself. In northern Nigeria today, there are many farmers who cannot go to the farm, even when it is rainy season now. Many businessmen cannot move around to go to Kano, to go to Lagos and other places to purchase whatever they want to buy for selling, and vice versa. And this is creating a lot of problems, a lot of concern. I'm not even talking of our brothers and sisters, the ones you mentioned in the east, and some or many people in the north, especially those who were kidnapped in the last train attack between Abuja and Kaduna. And these things are happening on a daily basis. This news is only coming through Arise and other places when it affects senior students of this country. And at the end of the day, there is nothing to give government and people confidence that government is doing something. And that is the worst even side of it. What we hear is normally statements by spokesmen of governments in this country. And for me, I think is a way of showing or displaying the weaknesses and the failure of government in this country. And I believe this is the time to advise our brothers and sisters in authority to make sure that lives and properties are protected. And worst is that some couple of days that our Kuje prison was broken and many terrorists, bandits, and so on were released. Now they are on the run, they are in the society. So only God knows what will happen in the next couple of days, weeks, and months. And this is the time for government and security agencies to wake up, Senator, to make sure that Nigerians are protected.
Senator Kwankwaso, if I may interrupt you, I'm sorry to do that. Yes, we all know what the problem is. We all will tell government must do something. But What should government do? You want to be president of Nigeria. What's your own idea as to how that problem can be solved? If you were to become president in 2023, how will you go about it? Considering the fact that well, you are not an army general. An army general has failed. You were Minister of Defense, so you have some level of insider knowledge. So what do you think should be done? What will you do?
You see, what should be done is not the issue of the Army General alone. It is the issue of management of the armed forces, security agencies, and even the country itself. You see, what should be done, first of all, is not what I say here that is important. What is important is for Nigerians to remember what we have done in Kano. In Kano, we found ourselves in the middle of attack by Boko Haram in 2012. The Boko Haram had wanted to make Kano its base by all means. And we took necessary action, not only to stop them, but also to put infrastructure on the ground that up till this moment, the Kano State people are enjoying from what has been set up in terms of organizational arrangement, in terms of security, the equipment that were being purchased and put in place, the synergy we established between the military and other paramilitary people in this country, in this state, and of course the jobs that were being created, the educational arrangement that was being done by training thousands of young men and women in 14 countries around the world, by establishing 2 universities, Kano University of Science and Technology and Northwest University, by also establishing 26 various institutes for young men and women to be trained and retrained in various trades, in various centers and so on. That is in addition to 44 boarding technical schools that we established in Kano, and 44 schools for Islamic studies for those who are interested in sending their children to schools to study both Western and, of course, Islamic education in Kano State. And hundreds of secondary schools that we established, thousands of classrooms, special classrooms that we established. Ruben, I want to tell you that when I was governor here, 2 years before I left government, there was no child in Kano who did not get a space. I'm not talking of people who go and sit down, a chair to sit down and be in primary school. There was no child in this state that had secondary qualification that could not get space. So also tertiary institutions. In fact, the 2 universities were established, one in 2001, one in 2012, were even complaining to me that they had no Kano indigents to put in their universities because most of them were abroad, some were in federal and other state universities in this country, including private universities. We sent 412 young men and women to Al-Kalam University. We sent 300 to Ignedian University, 300 to Bells University, 200 to Crescent University, and 25 to Abti in Yola. And we had good arrangement with Maiduguri University, Usman Danfodio, Ahmad Bello University, and we built 300-bed hospital, beds for them as a hostel. And of course, I'm so happy that the hostels are still in use today. So we were given golden opportunity to send our children. So you see, our security is not just based on the military and this and that and the guns and so on. We see security as a complete arrangement whereby everybody will be engaged. The few that will not hear or want to break the law, of course, that is why we have all this on the arrangement. Now, Ruben, what I want anybody who wants to aspire to be president to do is not only to come and tell us what he or she is going to do. They should tell us, because these are people who are in one place or the other in the past. And we want people who have performed, people who have capacity, people who have proved to understand what to do even under the most difficult circumstances. We will not go for experiment in 2023. This country, as far as we see it, is on the edge now. Nobody will go just by promises and big grammars. We want to go to everybody. If you are a governor, okay, you are a governor, tell us what you have done in your state with proofs, not just by mouths that you are going to do. We are past that level. We will not try, as far as I'm concerned, Nigerians shouldn't be in a hurry to put somebody that they will start regretting again. So I am so happy that we have performed extremely well, to the extent that anybody you talk to, especially Ruben Abati, will always tell you Kano. Now, Kano is my home, Kano is my base. And Ruben, I want to tell you, and through you tell Nigerians, that if you want to know somebody, don't judge him by how he looks in the airport, or how you see him in the market, or how he goes with a good car or grammar. Go to his base and find out who that man is. Now, whatever you think about him, you can only go and confirm at home. But if you don't get exactly that, you better take what they tell you at home, because they know that person better than you. Now, when you mentioned Kano, I was so happy, because Kano people are not fools to say they are supporting us. Next time you ask them why. Thank you, Ruben.
Well, Senator, I like the point you have made about Kano. But in the bigger scheme of things, Kano, some people will still say, yes, Kano has a large electorate in Nigeria, and whoever wants to be president will need to get 25% of Kano. But at the end of the day, some people will say Kano is still just a village segment of the bigger Nigerian community. Now, the question is education, which you focused on. Right, okay. UNICEF says we now have over 10 million children out of school, over 15 million actually. Previously, it was just a little over 10 million. What do you intend to do on a larger scale beyond the village of Kano, to make sure that Nigerian children go to school and the UBEC Act is effectuated, and then, of course, poverty is addressed? That will be a major issue in this campaign, I think.
Yes, you see, education is our trademark. In fact, we succeeded here in Kano because of our efforts in education, which has been appreciated not only in Kano, but across the country. Now, let me tell you that when we are doing our program, especially the foreign sponsorship, we sent well over 3,000 young men and women to 14 countries across the world. And I can tell you, many of those young men and women were not the only origin of Kano. We heard from, many of them from almost all the countries in this world, including people from the south. And we deliberately believe that anybody who lives within the borders of Kano is a Kano man, either whether he came 1 year ago or 20 years or 30 years. In fact, many of them were here hundreds of years ago. And I can tell you now that I am very happy that we treated sponsorship that way, because each state I go, I find people, they will come and tell me that they benefited from our sponsorship, but their origin is from this state, and it's so interesting and very much beneficial to our campaign. Now we are not sending people from Kano to go and campaign for us. Kano, we are lucky, is a cosmopolitan state where you have almost everybody being represented here in Kano, and everybody therefore benefited. And I can tell you, at a stage, in fact, when I started politics 30 years ago, when I was in the House, this Kwankwaso, many people were calling me Okonkwo and Sons, believing that this meaning Kwankwaso Hausaman could not say Okonkwo and Sons, believing that I was very close to Igbo people in this country. When they started, it was very disadvantageous because they believed the percentage of Igbo, especially in my constituency as a House of Reps member, was very negligible. So also even in the state. But today, all the Okonkos they are talking about are in my constituency in this country. So I'm so happy that I never told anybody that I'm not Okonkwo and Sons, and because now it's a big advantage for me that the Southeast and all other Okonkos across the country and even beyond have the opportunity now to vote the person they think is their own. So we are so happy with the arrangement. Now on the number of young men and women who have, the children that have not gone to school, I can assure you when I was governor of this country, governor of this state, we were even looking for people to send to the school. We were looking for children to go to school. Go and ask the records, you will see our record. There was no child, I told you earlier on, that nobody who wanted to go to school, that he did not get an opportunity from primary to tertiary education. So this, what we have done in Kano, is exactly what we intend to replicate in this country with a special, very special improvement. Look, during my first term, I was lucky that I lost the election. I was away for 8 years, and that 8 years gave me an opportunity to reflect, to understand areas of weaknesses, to understand my areas of strength, and therefore when I came, it was like all were set for action. And within the first week, we were able to make arrangement with to inaugurate State Assembly, send commissioners, return the commissioners to me, and then start a State Council meeting within Sunday to Sunday. So now I am also out of government for almost 8 years, and I have good reflection of what we have done in the country. Don't forget, I was in the NDDC representing Northwest, and of course you mentioned the issue of Ministry of Defense and so on. So all these experiences are here with us, believing that when we have an opportunity in 2023, it's action first day. We will not waste any second to waste, because it's just 1 out of 8 years that must not be wasted. So education, I can assure you and assure Nigerians that we'll use our resources to ensure everybody is educated in this country. And also I'm happy to say, and it's very important, that all what we have done, we did not borrow 1 naira. I never borrowed 1 naira for any program or any project. All what we did was our internally generated revenue plus the federal, the FAC that we get every month in this country. And I feel very angry when I see state governments and federal government, including Kano State government, borrowing left, right, and center. And you look what we have on the ground, you have close to nothing. And that is very unfortunate. In fact, the information that I have now is that by next year, our total revenue can only go out there to service interest on the debt. And we begin to wonder where we can get money to even proceed in this country. So it's very sad that we find ourselves in this total mess. And I want to appeal to all those who are in government, from federal to local government, please to be more responsible, to believe that this is our country, we have to save whatever resources that we have. But even if you cannot do anything, please don't go out and borrow money for our children and grandchildren. Where are they going to get the money to pay?
Okay.
Are they going to sell firewood? to pay the money, or are they going to go to the farm and sell their farm products and pay the debt? It's very unfortunate. I get worried, and in fact, I feel very sad when I get the figures from the government of this country.
Well, Senator Kwankwaso, let me take you back to the identity question. You yourself refer to the father. Oh, some people say you are an able man, Okonkwo and sons, and which they allege your father set up in the northern part of Nigeria after he migrated to the north, and that you are an able man. You yourself, you refer to it. Identity has become a major issue in Nigerian politics. One presidential candidate has been described as a Cameroonian. The running mate that emerged, I've seen stories saying that no, the man is from Mauritania, even if his family has been in Nigeria for more than 100 years. Are you an able man? Are you, in real sense, Okonkwo? Who exactly is Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso?
Ruben, if you say I'm a Cameroonian, I will say no. If you say I'm Mauritanian, I say no. If you say from Niger, say no. But if you say I'm Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa or whatever, thank you very much.
Okay. No, where exactly are you from? I think your followers would like to know.
I am from Kano.
Yeah. Since 100 years, 200 years, or in the last 60 years?
Many years. I didn't count.
Okay, let's leave it. Maybe, once you are born inside Nigeria, it's assumed that you are a Nigerian and you are entitled to every right inside Nigeria. But let me ask you about the economy, which is also a major issue. Nigeria has issues with fuel subsidy. We have an issue with petrol supply. We have an issue with electricity. We have an issue with debt overhang, resource mobilization. All of these critical issues that affect us, the ordinary Nigerians, who suffer under the weight of leadership. When you get there, if you get there, what will you do about these specific issues?
Well, first of all, I want to say that, as usual, anytime I find myself in a position of responsibility, I always try to get the best brains. I am a civil engineer by profession. I was in the civil service for 17 years, and of course in politics for 30 years now. But I cannot claim to say that I know everything. And that's why at any given time we try to get the best people to advise us. But one is educated enough and experienced enough to remember many things, and those things that you can remember, you have people, good people around you. And those people will be selected not based on religion or region or tribe. They will be purely be selected based on their competence. And in this country, we have so many people, good people, that are willing to serve their motherland. And these are the people that we bring from various fields, ranging from the economy you mentioned, even the security. We will get the best people who are well-trained, people who have got managerial skills, and people who are in the position to use the people under them to achieve good results. We will get good people in all areas, in education, in our universities and other tertiary institutions, and so on and so forth. People of proven integrity, people who will serve the people of this country. And I have no doubt in my mind that the good people, there are so many good people. In fact, the vast majority of Nigerians are good people. All what they require is an opportunity. I have seen it here in Kano because we brought in government of integrity. You find everybody, including the civil servants, who I believe are very flexible. If you come with very good program and projects and you inject integrity into the system, you find they are completely different. And if you come with agenda of stealing, agenda of giving it to very few people at the expense of the majority, the civil servants will be very happy to help you because they also benefit from that. And I believe that if you have a responsible government, either at state level or at federal level, there are good people. If you want them, you will get them. And I can tell you all this issue of security, issue of economy, and even the politics, and even the division that we find that we find ourselves in today will be a thing of the past. So I believe that success is not only one man's knowledge. It is a combination of everybody, including the general public. What people want today in this country is for them to be convinced that the government is serious. The government will not sell them out in terms of security, because you see, all what is happening in this country is very much well known to many people. But many of them are afraid that if you report what you saw, you will be in danger. And that has to do with the confidence that people have with the government, and of course by extension to security agencies and so on and so forth. So if you are talking of success, success will be a combination of the efforts of everybody headed by a good and capable president who has proven himself over the years.
Well, Senator Kwankwaso, as we're trying to wrap up this conversation, if you were to become president of Nigeria in 2023, will you go ahead with the removal of petroleum subsidy? And how quickly will you do it, and why?
You see, there are many issues, delicate issues, that must be properly studied, especially the issue of subsidy itself. We are working on the issue of subsidy, and of course, in the near future, probably will come with a position. But I can tell you that the federal government is spending trillions and trillions every year to subsidize petroleum. We are very much aware of that. On the other hand, if you remove the subsidy, what do you do with the other consequences of that, especially the issue of price hike of commodities and so on and so forth, the salaries and so on. So it is a balance that the NNPP is looking at critically, and certainly a position will be taken in the near future on what should be done on the issue of subsidy and many other complicated issues that were being introduced by previous administrations. Now, you know, what is important is ensuring that job opportunities are being created. Most of the items that were being imported from the country are allowed to be produced. The issue of infrastructure, especially electricity, which is very critical. There is no point, there is no reason why government in this country over the years could not solve the electricity issue. We have seen people talking about electricity, but when they have an opportunity, they failed woefully. Ruben, let me tell you, I believe I am the only state governor in this country who spent billions of naira to provide turbines in our two dams, Chala Gorge Dam and of course Tiga Dam. They are the two biggest out of the 23 dams that we have here in Kano State. And I can tell you, even when I was leaving government, what was only remaining was the transmission of the electricity to our water boards, to waterworks, and of course street lights in the city of Kano. And we left $43 million US dollars cash in our account for government to conclude that job. And up till now, unfortunately, we don't even know what the government is doing either with the project or the money that was being left in the treasury. So if you are talking of electricity, I'm not coming to the center just to say that we are doing that, we hope to do that. It's something that we have done. It will be only a continuation of what we have done. Now, Ruben, if you have time, I will tell you, in 2006, when I was Minister of Defense, I went to Iran on assignment. And when I was in Iran, I was received by the defense attaché of Pakistan, because Pakistan was the one that was covering Iran. And coincidentally, the officer there was the President Sultan. And he came and received us. I spent about 1 week together with him. And when the Minister of Defense of Iran asked me, where do you want to go? I told him some installations, military installations. And the second one I told him was to go and study their electricity in the country. And one of the places I visited was where they are working now to produce electricity using uranium in the country. And we spent one good day with the President Sultan sitting by my left in a car to go and see their electricity. And let me tell you that not long ago I was traveling with the same respected Sultan, and he told me that, look, Your Excellency, when you came to Iran, I was shocked when you said you wanted to see their electricity and other projects in Iran. I didn't see the linkage between Minister of Defense and that installation. But now I have seen the way and manner you are preparing to be president of this country. And I'm telling you what we have done in terms of turbines, using water to produce electricity in Kano. I'm now telling you the story since 2006. 2006 now is 2022, what we have recorded as what should be done in this country. So I can go on and on. I know you don't have time. We don't have time also about our studies in the power itself. So a lot has been done, a lot has been documented. All what we are looking in this country is Senator, an opportunity to implement.
Senator, yes, I get your point. I would like to end this conversation, very interesting one, on the note of news just reaching us, which says, All Progressives Congress Party, APC presidential candidate, Senator Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has formally announced former Kano State Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate. Tinubu disclosed this personally in Daura, Katsina State on Sunday. After a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC candidate had gone to Daura, where the president is observing his Salah break, to unveil his running mate to the president. Before the announcement, Ibrahim Masari, Tinubu's placeholder running mate, had announced his resignation. And I come back to you almost immediately, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. What's your take on this? This is Muslim ticket. And do you feel especially threatened? I mean, Peter Obi of the Labour Party picked Dati Baba Ahmed, and now Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, major contenders in this race, has picked Senator Ibrahim Shettima of Borno State. And here you are, you haven't even made up your mind yet. Do you feel threatened? What's your reaction?
Well, Bola Tinubu was my colleague in 1992. I was Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps. He was a senator. We had many political battles with him. In 1999, we were together. I was governor of Kano. He was governor of Lagos. We also worked together to form APC. When I was governor, of course, we were working at the background people knew that we were coming only when we announced it officially. And Shatima was also my colleague as governor during my second term. You know, he's a gentleman, he's a good man, and I wish him well. But if you see my friend Bola, you should tell him to take it easy, take good care of his health, and make sure that, because I love him so much, he's my friend, this campaign is very rigorous. It requires a lot of efforts and so on and so forth. So I hope he will take it easy so that we can continue with the struggle to ensure one solid and prosperous Nigeria. So I'm so happy that that combination. My only worry is the platform. This platform, I don't know. I know he's a strategist, Bolaji Tinubu. He's a good man. I had reasons to sit down with him uncountable number of times from 1992 to date. The only thing is I don't know. I wish I would see him to ask him what he will tell Nigerians that he will do differently from what Muhammad Buhari is doing today. That's my serious concern for him. Ordinarily, if I cannot get it, I can recommend him. But it's going to be like building something on zero. And when I see him, I wish him well. And when you see him also before me, tell him I wish him well. But let's take it easy.
But Senator, I mean, are you a medical doctor? You made reference to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's health. You said he should take care of his health. Is there something you know that we do not know?
Yes, I will tell you a story now that you have time. You see, in 1999, I went for a medical exam in the villa. And when I went to collect my result, the doctor looked at me, and I think he's still there in the villa. He looked at me, and he puts his two hands like this on his head. And I was scared. I was shocked that a medical doctor who is used to dissecting dead bodies and so on was putting his two hands on head, meaning he has seen big trouble. So when he saw me, he spent some seconds with that, and I was asking him, "Doctor, what happened?" He just smiled and said, "Your Excellency, I have seen a very healthy man. I could not detect one problem. But this young man now, at that time I was 42, I said this young man is going to the government house. And he was sure, according to him, that I will come out a sick man. And that was why he was so worried about me. Now, I was at 42, going to Kano State government house, and the medical doctor was so worried, and he said I was very healthy. And this is the angle I was looking at it, and that's why I'm a little bit worried myself.
Okay, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, so final question. Will you restructure Nigeria, and how? Many Nigerians want Nigeria restructured. Briefly, we have to go.
Restructuring, you see, life, Ruben, life is very dynamic. Not only restructuring, we will do a lot of reforms. So many things must be changed. We cannot continue like this and expect anything better. The way our institutions are being weakened, the way they are operating, is not acceptable to any responsible leadership. There must be some reforms. There must be some changes, left, right, and center. Some of them you call them reforms, some you can even call them restructuring. But whatever we are going to do, we are going to be very fair to Nigerians. We will not do anything that will be at the expense of any individual or group of people. We are going to be a responsible government that at least will carry the majority with us. We'll make people happy. We'll make things happen. And of course, people will be punished when they cross the line, and people will be celebrated when they do the right thing. And I believe that's the only way we can make progress. And we are going to use a lot of technology. You see, even in developed countries, one of the things they are doing, and we are doing here, is using technology. Look, we are the first state government, not even the federal government, we are the first to start what we call e-payment. We were the first to start it in this country. We are the first to start many things, including the payment through so many things that we have started. The Treasury single account. We started that in this country. Even the kanjis. We started kanjis even before the Aegis in Abuja. And that Aegis, I thank Rufai, we were in the council together with him when he brought the memo to start Aegis. He acknowledged that Kano started it. We started that in our first term in year 2000. So we have started so many reforms and changes in this state, and of course this will continue at the national level. And of course, by the time we do our first or second term, Nigerians will be celebrating us like we are being celebrated here in Kano, just as you acknowledged yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, for joining us today on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm sure there will be another opportunity, another day, to deal with some of the questions we may not have addressed. We wish you well in your ambition.